All right, let's get this show started.
Colby Covington just went off on the UFC after being left off the White House card. Speaking to Submission Radio, Covington launched into a fiery rant at the promotion, claiming he wasn't given the opportunity to fight on the historic event. Covington also said the situation has affected him financially, adding that without fights he doesn't have the chance to earn money and is currently struggling.
Said I'd fight anybody on God's green earth on the White House card just to get that opportunity to fight in front of my my hero, Donald Trump, and all the great politicians that I'm friends with up in DC. They're upsetting their hardcore fan base. Whatever, we're just gonna throw shit at the wall and we're gonna tell everybody it's flaming yawn. It's completely the opposite of what they promised the fans. They said, hey, we're gonna give you guys the biggest and best event the UFC's ever had. We're gonna put 6 or 7 title fights on this card. Where's the 6 or 7 title fights? And they just have me sitting around for the last 14 months doing nothing. They haven't offered me one fight. Like, they're supposed to be offering me 3 fights a year by contractual law. I'm not trying to get into a suing match or a pissing match, but it's just not fair to me. They're treating me like an employee right now because I tried to go wrestle and do a jiu-jitsu match against Arman. They said no. They're treating me unfairly, and I'm sick of it, man. They've done me dirty my whole career. I've been treated like shit, and I've tried to play the company role, but I'm just over it, man. They're trying to ice me out. It's been 15 months. What do you want me to do? You just want me to sit here and just twiddle my thumbs and play with myself? Like, what the f am I supposed to do to earn money, dude? I want to pay my bills, man. I have a lot of bills. It just sucks, man. I feel so disrespected by the company after everything I've done for them. Put my, the company on my back for the events that I promoted, sold out, Madison Square Garden, top 10 gates all time. What I did in Brazil, putting my life on the line for their company to make them money when I was getting paid peanuts, 30 grand when, I made them tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, Hunter's hated me from the start. He's never liked to deal with me, but he's had to deal with me because I was their biggest star in the welterweight division. Dude, it's the most frustrating thing in the world, dude. I get stopped, 10, 20 times a day, every day. People are like, when's your next fight? When's your next fight? Why aren't you fighting? I just think that the UFC, they've checked out, man. They got the $8 billion from Paramount. They don't care about putting on the best exciting fights. They're getting guaranteed money, so they'd rather stick out a guy out there that's making 10 and 10 than stick a guy out there like me who makes big money.
Quick heads up, guys. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button to help us reach more viewers. Now, back to the news. It turns out Colby Covington was actually offered a fight for the UFC White House card. During a recent interview on the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, Bo Nickal revealed that Covington turned down a fight with him, which is why he's not on the White House card.
Yeah, I didn't really care, to be honest, who it was. Obviously, the Colby fight made sense, and the negotiations were interesting. My communication with the UFC was that they wanted the fight with Colby, and they told me that they offered him the fight, and they told him that, hey, if you want to be on the White House card, you got to fight Bo, and that's the fight. So they said basically you have a choice between being on the White House card and fighting Bo, or you're not on the card. And he decided that he didn't want to, fight me, and it was worth it to him to not be on the card, to not fight me. I think that they definitely could have paid him more money. I don't think they probably were wanting to pay more money. I'm sure for him, he's thinking, all right, I'm probably not going to win this fight. I need to get a payday to make this happen. And so, I'm sure the UFC said, hey, this is your contract. This is what you're getting paid. I doubt they wanted to pay him any more. And so I understand his position, as a businessman wanting to, get your worth and get your value. I think that at the same time, the opportunity to compete at the White House is something you have to factor in a little bit, maybe.
On Thursday, UFC CEO Dana White dropped perhaps the year's biggest announcement, a string of main event bookings filling up the cards all the way to the scheduled Freedom Fights 250 event at the White House in Washington, D.C. The biggest and most anticipated of the announced bouts is undeniably Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland, a middleweight title fight and grudge match that will headline UFC 328 in Newark, New Jersey.
What a matchup for the middleweight title.
Fun card, and obviously the main event is the fight that people have been waiting for a long time. Strickland looked incredible in his last performance, and how much security do you think we're going to need from Chimaev?
Quite a lot, Dana. You need to hire some extra people because Sean Strickland, as the man's a maniac, but he deserves this shot.
In addition to that 185-pound clash, Dana announced 3 other UFC main events. First, Dana confirmed that surging featherweight prospect Malki Kawa will throw down with veteran contender Arnold Allen on May 16th inside the Meta Apex. It's a well-deserved step-up for Costa, who has won 6 straight fights in impressive fashion, but it's also nice to see Allen booked again quickly after his competitive loss to Jean Silva. On May 30th, UFC will return to Macau, China, with an event headlined by Song Yadong versus former flyweight kingpin Davison Figueiredo. Yadong came up short in his most recent appearance against Sean O'Malley at UFC 324, while Figueiredo was soundly out-wrestled by Umar Nurmagomedov in his most recent showing. Given that Figueiredo is 38 years old and has lost 3 of his last 4, it's something of a must-win fight for the Brazilian. The final main event revealed is Bilal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim for June 6th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Bilal lost competitive decisions in his most recent 2 appearances to Jack Della Maddalena and Ian Gary. Those defeats snapped a lengthy unbeaten streak, whereas Bonfim is on the rise. The Brazilian has won 4 in a row, including a highlight reel KO over Randy Brown in his first ever main event booking last November. Dana also confirmed tickets for White House card will be absolutely free.
Press conference is going to be at the Lincoln Memorial. The way that the White House is laid out, you got the White House, you got the South Lawn, and then there's a road, and then the Ellipse is a park that's right there. We're going to be ticketing 85,000 people in the Ellipse, and the tickets are free. And we'll announce how we're going to be giving them away soon. You should plan on going to Washington, D.C. for this event. There's going to be all kinds of activations in the Ellipse. There's going to be music, and you can actually sit in the park and watch the fight on the screens, but you'll actually see the whole setup. It's right there. Unique, cool experience for fight fans, a one of one.
85,000 tickets, you're not charging for a single one?
No charge. 85,000 tickets. We'll announce soon how you get them or how you apply for them, and they're all free.
Joe Rogan has raised serious concerns about the upcoming UFC White House event. Rogan questioned the safety measures surrounding the event, especially given the recent conflict that could potentially spread onto American soil. On Thursday, the FBI alerted California law enforcement to potential Iranian drone strikes on the West Coast as possible retaliation following recent US airstrikes. With all this in mind, Rogan, who regularly commentates for the UFC and will likely be in the booth on Fight Night, addressed the issue on his podcast. Demetrious Johnson has shut down rumors about a potential fight with Muhammad Mokaev. On Thursday, the MMA page Home of Fight reported that Mokaev had been offered an MMA bout against Johnson and had already accepted the matchup. However, DJ quickly dismissed the claim, calling it absolute bullshit and making it clear that he has no plans to return to competition. In fact, Johnson reiterated that he's done fighting and won't be coming back to compete again.
What's going on, boys? It's Mighty. Okay, this right here is absolutely bullshit. I just got done doing a Mighty cast with Joshua Vaughn, and this news came to me from the producer. Guys, my black ass is retired. I'm never coming back to compete ever again. If I do, it'll be for IBJJF, and even then, only train 1 day a week. And another thing, shame on the promoter. Shame on the promoter who's out there trying to pitch fights to other athletes when they know my black ass retired. And Muhammad Mokaev, just text me, brother. They lied to you. I just sent you a DM. Get back to me and we'll, let people know who this asshole is who's spreading lies. Os.
Ilia Toporia's manager Malki Kawa has clarified his recent comments about UFC White House fight negotiations for a potential clash with Islam Makhachev. Earlier, Kawa had said that Team Topuria asked for more money to take the fight, which allegedly led the UFC to decline and instead book Topuria against Justin Gaethje.
Then we get a call that said, hey, if we can make a fight, you can fight Islam or Gaethje, right? And we actually said, let's take Islam. We'd love to fight Islam because remember, guys, it's not about picking an opponent because one is harder or easier or scared or not scared. Money's involved, and the bigger the fight, the more money it is. And so we wanted to make the most amount of money, right, that we possibly could. So we were focused on getting an Islam fight. So then Wednesday, I got asked, would you guys want to do this or that? And we said, absolutely. They gave us a number. We said, absolutely not. And then we didn't hear anything after that. The money that was offered was like small. It was more like, if this fight could happen, here's the numbers. Are you guys down for it? And we're like, not at those numbers.
However, Kawa has now clarified the situation. According to him, the UFC actually came back with a better offer, and Toporia's team once again requested the fight with Makhachev. But we're told that Islam was injured at the time. He wrote, well, we actually said no to both because the numbers were too low. That's correct. But then when they came back Friday, we asked for Islam and were told he was hurt. So Justin was the only option at that point. We asked for Islam. Arman Tsarukyan finally appears to have a date for his next fight. While taking part in various grappling matches and side quests outside the UFC, Tsarukyan has been waiting for his next official booking from the promotion. Meanwhile, UFC President Dana White recently criticized Tsarukyan for his antics at RAF 06, making it clear that he wasn't pleased with the lightweight contender's recent activities. However, in a recent interview with Red Corner MMA, Tsarukyan addressed White's comments, saying he doesn't understand why Dana would speak negatively about him and insisting that he still has a good relationship with the UFC. Tsarukyan also revealed that he recently spoke with UFC matchmaker Hunter Campbell and now has a date set for his next fight.
Ну не было такого, что слишком жестко обошлись или там несправедливо, такого не было, да?
Не. Я не знаю, почему Дана говорит отрицательно насчет меня, но у меня с ними все хорошо и никаких там внутренних интриг у меня нету с ними.
Вот честно говоря, я думал, ты обратишься к Дане, не знаю, в очередной раз, сейчас уже тем более на эмоциях после победы.
А у меня нет нечего к нему обращаться. Во-первых, я с ним не веду переговоры, я веду переговоры с Хантером, и он все бои организовывает, которые я дерусь. Но, наверное, Дана просто дает согласие от боев. Как бы матчмейкер это у нас Шон Шелби, потом идет Хантер, который уже задает. И мне Дане нечего сказать, мне только надо сказать Хантеру, чтобы он мне дал. И мы сегодня утром разговаривали, и он мне сказал приблизительную дату, когда я буду драться.
Later, Arman took to Instagram to send this message to Dana White.
I don't understand. I did nothing wrong to you. You know that I can't play, I can't run, I can't hang out with friends outside, I can't do a bunch of stuff.
Arman also appeared on a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, where he boldly claimed he could knock out Alexander Volkanovski with a single axe kick.
We saw in an interview you said one axe kick with Volk and it's game over.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Sure.
What does that mean?
No, I mean if they give me a fight with Volkanovski, I just.
Where did this come from? Where has this talk with Volkanovski come from?
Because he said he would cut to 145.
Yeah, because
to
the
title
division.
shot.
You said that to the UFC.
Yeah, because division, there is no big names, and like if they put me in, like I'll stay there, do maybe 3-4 fights there, and then go up on my division.
But Arman, you really believe like one axe kick?
No, he doesn't believe that.
I do believe.
No,
it.
you don't.
Yes, he does. I talked to him about this all night.
Oh, like this.
Hey, listen, I'm going to stick up for my guy Volkanovski here. You know what I'm saying? The man's fight IQ is ridiculous. Diego Lopez couldn't get anywhere near him.
Here are the top 3 memes found on the internet. Number 3 meme was posted by Mark.
Come to my guy, evil guy, bad guy.
Number 2 meme was posted by Latin Imperial. And number 1 meme was posted by Marcus Koss. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for your daily dose of MMA. Catch you tomorrow.